Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat, Adonai. Welcome to this Exodus program. Thank you for listening. The name of this segment is The Turnaround. The Turnaround. I'd like to read to you the book of Jeremiah, chapter 22, Jeremiah chapter 23, and Jeremiah chapter 52. Now, the turnaround is, it has to do with the kings, the last few kings, and how God was disciplined them. There are three phases I'd like to share with you that implement this turnaround. The first one is how God disciplined them, and then the action, and then the return back to Israel. The the first one is the discipline and the ostracism. He ostracized them. He put them out of the country. And then the action as far as when he put them out of the country, Jeremiah chapter 52, and then 400 years later, he brings them back. Action 3 is the turnaround. Okay, follow me as I read to you. I'm not going to have any comments, so I'm just going to read to you the actions, and I'm not making any comments because it'll be too long. But to start this segment, I'd like to mention to you the kings that God disciplined. The first king was named Shalom. The second king was named Coniah. The third king was called Jehoiakim. And the fourth was called Josiah. Okay, I'd like to read to you now Jeremiah chapter 22. And the God disciplined them and then ostracizes them. He tells them what he's going to do to them. Okay, let's begin. Thus saith the Lord God, down to the house of the king of Judah, and speak there this word, and say, Hear the word of the Lord, O King of Judah, that sitteth upon the throne of David, thou and thy servants, and thy people that enter into these gates. Thus saith the Lord, Execute ye judgment and righteousness, and deliver the spoil out of the land of the oppressor, and do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. For if you do this thing indeed, then shall there enter in by these gates of the house the king sitteth upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he and his servants and his people. But if ye will not hear these words, I swear by myself, saith the Lord, that this house shall become a desolation. For thus saith the Lord unto the king's house of Judah, Thou art Gilead unto me, and the house and the head of Lebanon. Yet surely I will make thee a wilderness, and cities which are not inhabited, and I will prepare destroyers against thee, every one with his weapons, and they shall cut down thy choice cedars, and cast them into the fire. And many nations shall pass by this city, and they shall say, every man to his neighbor, Wherefore has the Lord done thus unto this great city? Then shall They answer, because they have forsaken the covenant of the Lord their God, and worship their other gods, their idols, and serve them. Weep ye not for the dead, neither bemoan them, but weep sore for them that goes away. For he shall return no more, nor to his native country. For thus says the Lord, touching Shallum, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, which reigned instead of Josiah his father, which went forth out of this place. He shall not return thither any more, but he shall die in the place whither they have led him captive, and shall see his land no more. Woe unto him that build his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that uses his neighbor's services without wages, and giveth him not for his work. Thus says, I will build me a wide house, and large chambers, and cut them out windows, and it is sealed with cedar, and painted with vermilion. Shalt thou reign, because thou clothes thyself in cedar? Did not thy fathers eat and drink, and do judgment and justice, and then it was well with him? He judges and calls of the poor and the needy, then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, says the Lord? But thine eyes and thine heart are not but for the covetousness, and for the shedding of innocent blood, for oppression, and for violence to do it. Therefore thus says the Lord concerning Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, they shall not lament for him, saying, O my brother, or O sister. They shall not lament for him, saying, O Lord, or O his glory. He shall be buried with the burial of an ass. Draw and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem. Go up to Lebanon, and cry, and lift up thy voice in Bashan, and cry from the passages, for all thy lovers are destroyed. I spake unto thee in thy prosperity, but thou sayest, I will not hear. This has been this manner from thy youth, that thou mayest not obey my voice. The wind shall eat all of thy pastors, and thy lovers shall go into captivity. Surely then shalt thou be ashamed, and be confounded for all thy wickedness. O inhabitants of Lebanon, that makest thy nest in the cedars, how gracious shalt thou be when pains come upon thee, the pains as a woman in travail. As I live, says the Lord, though Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, hands, yet will I pluck thee thence, and I will give thee unto the hands of them that seek thy life, and unto the hand of them whose face thou fearest, even unto the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and unto the hand of the Chaldeans. That means Americans. Chaldeans are Americans who came out of Babylon. Their friends were called the Assyrians. And I will cast thee out, and thy mother that bare thee, unto another country, where ye were not born, and there shall ye die. But to the land whereunto thou desirest to return, thither shall thou not return. Is this the man Coniah, a despised broken idol? Is he a vessel wherein is no pleasure? Wherefore are ye cast out, he and his seed, and are cast into a land which they knoweth not. O earth, 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 hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord, write ye this man childless, a man that shall not prosper in his days, for no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David and ruling any more in Judah. Okay, that was the discipline, and God saying he's going to put them out. Now we're going to read to you Jeremiah chapter 52, where he's going to put them out. And these are the actions on what happened. Okay, this is the action, this is the put out. Okay, this is we are continuing the subject called the turnaround. Okay, now this is the action that I'm reading to you, where God talked to Shalom, Coniah, Jehoiakim, and Josiah, and tell them what they're gonna do for his displeasure in them as being kings. Zedekiah was 120 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the eyes of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of the Lord it came to pass in Jerusalem and Judah, till he had cast them out from his presence, that Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came, he and all his army, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and built forts against it round about. So the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zedekiah. Now I want to stop right here real quick before I continue with verse 6. Is that the Chaldeans, which are Americans, they have a long history. The Chaldeans was over a place called Babylon, and they rebuilt the Babylon the second time, and they are called Chaldeans. Now they had took the Hebrews captive when the king, his name was Hezekiah. King Hezekiah was king when the Chaldeans came from Babylon with King Nebuchadnezzar. That king in the Middle East, where Chaldeans, where Americans come from, that was in the land of Babylon in the Middle East. Now the Chaldeans have regrouped again and put people out of the country. It's something that they always do or have done, and they have these in America now, and so they have us as slaves again. Okay, so this is King Zedekiah. The first one they had in captivity was Hezekiah. Okay, different kings. Okay, names sound familiar, but it's a different time and different king. And then I'm continuing with the verse 6. And in the 4th month, in the 9th day of the month, the famine was sore in the city, so that there was no bread for the people of the land. Then the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled, and went forth out of the city by night by the way of the gate between the two walls, which was by the king's garden. Now the Chaldeans were by the city round about, and they went by the way of the plain. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued after the king, and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. Then they took the king and carried him up to the king of Babylon, to Riblah, in the land of Hamath, where he gave judgment upon him. And the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and slew also all the princes of Judah in Riblah. Then he put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and the king of Babylon brought him in chains, and carried him to Babylon, and put him in prison till the day of his death. Now in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan. Now it's Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, which served the king of Babylon, into Jerusalem, and burned the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and all the houses of the great men burned he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldeans that were with the captain of the guard brake down all the walls of Jerusalem round about. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captain captive certain of the poor of the people, and the residue of the people that remained in the city, and those that left the way, that fell to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the multitude. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left certain of the poor of the land for vine dressers and husbandmen. Also the pillars of brass that were in the house of the Lord, and the basins that was in the house of the Lord, the Chaldeans broke, and carried all the brass of them to Babylon. The cauldron also, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the bowls, and the spoons, and all the vessels of brass wherewith they ministered, took they away. And the basins, and the fire pans, and the bowls, and the cauldrons, and the candlesticks, and the spoons, and the cups that was of gold, in gold, and that which was in silver, took the captain of the guard away. The 2 pillars, 1 and 12 basins bowls, that was under the basin which King Solomon had made in the house of the Lord. The brass of all these vessels was without weight. And concerning the pillars, The height of one pillar was 18 cubits, and the fillet of 12 cubits did compass it, and the thickness thereof was 4 fingers. It was hollow, and the capitre of brass was upon it, and the height of one capitre was 5 cubits, with network and pomegranates upon the chapiter round about, all of brass. The second pillar also and the pomegranates was like unto these, and there was 96 pomegranates on one side, and all the pomegranates upon the network were 100 round about. And the captain of the guard took Zorara, the chief priest, and Zephaniah, the second priest, and 3 keepers of the door. He took them out of the city. And Enoch, a eunuch, which had charge of the men of the war, and 7 men of them that were near the king's person, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land that were found in the midst of the city. So Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon in Riblah. And the king of Babylon smote them and put them to death in Riblah, in the land of Hamath. Thus Judah was carried away captive out of his own land. This is the people whom Nebuchadnezzar carried away captive in the 7th year, 3,000 Jews, and 23. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832 persons. And the 23rd year, Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, carried away captive of the Jews 745 persons. All the persons were 4,600. And it came to pass in the 7th and the 30th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the 12th month, in the 5th and the 20th day of the month, that evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and brought him forth out of prison, and spake kindly unto him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments, and did continually eat bread before him all the days of his life. And for his diet there was a continual diet given to him of the kings of Babylon every day, a portion until the day of his death, all the days of his life. Okay, now those are the actions on what happened. Okay, now going to the third portion, we go back to the book of Jeremiah chapter 23, and then at the end of that we will end this segment. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 23. Let's continue. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says the Lord. Therefore, thus says the Lord God of Israel against the pastors that feed my people Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, says the Lord, and I will gather the remnant of my flock. Therefore, thus says the Lord God of Israel against the pastors that feed my people: Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit you in the evil of your doings, says the Lord, and I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their fold, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall there be lacking, says the Lord. Behold, the days come, says the Lord, that I will rise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord of righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, says the Lord, that they shall no more say, The Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, which brought up the children that brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and shall all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. My heart within me is broken because of the prophets. All my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man who is overcome with wine, because of the Lord, and because of his words of holiness. For the land is full of adulterers, for because of swearing, and the land mourneth, the land mourneth. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their courses is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane, yea, in my house have I found their wickedness, says the Lord. Wherefore they their way shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. They shall be driven on and fall therein, for I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, says the Lord. And I will have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesy in Baal, and cause my people Israel to err. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an horrible thing. They committed adultery and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none does return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. Therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts concerning the prophets: Behold, I will feed them with warm wood, and make them drink water of gall. For from the prophets of Jerusalem is profane gone forth into all the land. Thus says the Lord of hosts: Hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They make you vain. They speak of vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of the Lord. They say still unto them that despise me, The Lord hath said, Ye have no peace. And they say unto every one that walketh after their imagination in his own heart, No evil shall come upon you. But who hath stood in the counsel of the Lord, and hath received the word of his voice? Who hath marked his word, and heard it? Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. The anger of the Lord shall not return until he have executed, until he have performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it perfectly. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they have prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel, and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned them from their evil ways, and formed the evil of their doings. I am I a God at hand, says the Lord, and not a God afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places, that I should not see him, says the Lord? Do I not fill heaven and earth, says the Lord? I have heard what the prophets said, that prophesied lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which I tell every man to his neighbor, as their father has forgotten my name for Baal. That's the same thing as Jesus. The prophet that hath dreamed, let him tell a dream, and he that has my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the chaff to the wheat, says the Lord? Is not my word like a fire, says the Lord, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, says the Lord, that steal my word, that steal my words, every one from his neighbor. Behold, I am against the prophets, says the Lord, that use their tongue and say, He saith. Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, says the Lord. Okay, I'm going to stop there. But now this completes the Jeremiah 23 reading. Now I read to you the turnaround and the actions, the rebuke, and then the action, and then how God turns things around. Well, Jeremiah 23, where he said he will raise up a king a righteous king, and then he will bring Israel back to the land of their fathers. Okay, I'll end this segment. There will be no other comments concerning this subject. It ends this, the title is completed. The subject matter, the turnaround. All right, thank you for listening. Have a great day.